Hello everyone, this is Heather Whitman, curator here at the Highlands Museum and Discovery Center in Ashland, Kentucky. As the museum is temporarily closed due to the COVID-19 outbreak, my coworkers and I have been working on putting together some videos for you that you can enjoy in the safety and comfort of your home. I'm going to be doing some on some of the exhibits in the museum, some of our most well-known pieces. And we're also going to have some later on for our younger viewers. We're going to be doing some crafts and things online, so look forward to those. Today I thought we would talk about one of the most well-known pieces here at the museum, and that is Hitler's last telephone. Now, how did Hitler's last telephone get to Ashland, Kentucky? Well, first we're going to do a little bit of a background. I would assume that most people watching this video are familiar with the name Adolf Hitler, but if not, he was the Führer, or leader, of Nazi Germany during World War II, and it was his invasion of Poland in 1939 that began the war. His purpose for this invasion was to create living space for what he saw as the master race, the Aryan race. And as his army spread across Europe, he and the Nazis persecuted a number of peoples, including Jews, Poles, the disabled, anyone that they thought was undesirable. By 1941, the Axis powers controlled much of Europe and North Africa. However, this began to turn around by the Allies, which was consisted of the United Kingdom, the United States, and the Soviet Union. Now, in January of 1945, the Soviet Union was making their way towards Berlin, where Hitler was, and he fled to the Führer bunker. This was his underground bomb shelter that was located near the Reich Chancellery. And I've got a picture here. Now this is after the war. This is from about 1947. This is the exterior. We have here part of the old Reich Chancellery. This was an observation tower. And this was actually one of the emergency exits to the Führer bunker. Now, if I've got any younger viewers watching, think of this kind of like a basement. It was somewhere to go to be safe. And this was a pretty nice bomb shelter at 3,000 square feet. It had 30 rooms. It had heat, electricity, and running water. And Hitler was not alone. He took with him his longtime girlfriend, Eva Braun, as well as members of his senior staff. Knowing that the end was coming, on April 29th, 1945, Hitler married Braun, and the couple committed suicide the next day to avoid capture by the Soviet army. The war in Europe officially ended on May 8th. Now, leading up to the end of the war, plans had already been made in motion to put together a reparations committee by the Ally leaders. And a man chosen to be part of the American delegation was a man by the name of J. Howard Marshall. So I've got a picture of him too. J. Howard Marshall worked for the Ashland Oil and Refining Company that was located here in Ashland, Kentucky. And he is pictured here with his boss, Paul G. Blazer. And much of what I'm about to say next comes from a letter that Mr. Marshall wrote to the museum in 1985. This is based on his account. According to him, President Truman called Paul Blazer to request Marshall's participation in the delegation. So he found himself going to Europe. One of the stops they made was in Berlin, and they went into the bunker, what was left of it. It was still under control of the Soviets at that time. And he said that it was very damaged. Much of it had been ransacked. But on Hitler's bedside table, he found a lamp and this telephone. He gave the Soviet guard a couple cigarettes to kind of be like a look the other way trade, and made off with his treasures. In Marshall's letter, he says that the lamp at that time in 1985 was still in his possession. I can only presume that it is still in the Marshall family, but he gave the lamp to his boss, Paul G. Blazer. And according to Marshall, he did so because he had never worked with anyone who used a telephone more or more effectively than Paul Blazer. The phone stayed in the Blazer family for decades until it was given to the museum in 1985. So that is how Hitler's last telephone made its way to Ashland, Kentucky. This is currently part of an exhibit called Ashland Goes to War, located on our mezzanine level, and this examines the impact of World War II on Ashland. As I mentioned, we are unfortunately currently closed due to the pandemic, but we are hoping that we will get to reopen sooner rather than later, and you can come and see Hitler's telephone and all of our other great exhibits yourself when that time comes. In the meantime, I hope that you will stay home as much as you can, stay safe, wash your hands frequently. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care.